So how do you balance the integrating the serious topics into your comedy without the audience losing any interest? Like what is that balance like?
So here's the thing. You want to establish yourself in the beginning. And what I mean by that is when you're doing stand-up, you want to make sure you come out there assertive. You don't want to come out there looking unsure. You want to stake your place. So what I do, I will get a laugh early. So, okay, this guy's funny. He's worth me giving my attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Then I know, okay, I got your attention. I'm going to take you down this lane right here. And don't worry, it's going to get somewhere great. And there could be little nuggets in there to kind of pique their interest while you're talking serious. But in the end, you'll get there. You can feel the room also.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel some rooms to where they just want it. Bam, bam, joke, joke, joke. They don't want that. But some of my crowds I have, so I've been able to become versatile. I may have an elderly crowd, a little more patient. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Kind of
They
work
spent
up
their
to
money. They want to enjoy their time, so they're down to go down that road with you to get to a joke. But on my younger shows, they just want it. They want it. They want you just bam, 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 bam. Don't take too long. I tell my comedians this: fill the room, because if you're not prepared for that room, I'll never forget. I went through an instance where I'm working Hill City. It was called Hill City Pub at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Hill City Grill, something like that. I never forget. I had me and my comedians. We about to go do our thing. We've been on tour, and all of us were expecting a young black crowd. So my guys have wrote for a young black crowd.
Mm-hmm.
When we got to that venue, we looked in that room, and it's middle-aged white people. It's middle America, right?
Yeah.
A lot of my crew was like, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, how do you adjust to that?
And myself, I had worked and trained myself so much to be prepared and so many routines in my head that I threw that routine I had, whatever, to the side. We have middle America material.
Mm-hmm.
And, some of my guys, God bless them, man, they went up there and they pitched their stuff and they kept their routine like for a young crowd. And it won't work and it won't fly. And they would come back to me like, good luck out there. So I would tell these are keys for comedians. If you're dealing with a middle American crowd, whether it's white or whatever, there are main topics that we're all going to feel relatable. Marriage, family life, your children, career, job jokes, anything like that. Because that's something that American can tie into. Everyone can tie into.
Yeah.
So I used that, and I went to politics, in which you would think would be dangerous. But my lane was to speak and say a joke about each side. So I had jokes prepared for the Republican side. I had jokes prepared against the Democratic side. I had jokes prepared against the Independent side. And the Independent ended with me speaking to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, Bernie Sanders is running again." And I sat back and thought about it. I thought didn't Bernie die? I thought Bernie died in '96. So I made a joke about Bernie being. I thought Bernie was dead. So that broke the ice, and I was ready and able. So if you're gonna be in this lane, I'll just say, work hard enough so you're never nervous. The more you prepare, the less nervous you are. Preparation takes away nerves. So that's what I would do in my lane. So I'm ready for anything. Church crowds, nightclub crowds, anything.
So how important is it being authentic in your performance? Because basically what you just said, what I heard you say is talk about life. Talk about what you've been through. Don't create this fantasy. You would do fine talking about your life where people can relate to.
People can tell, when you're not being authentic and you're trying to buy laughs, as I like to say. When they feel like they can enjoy listening to you and it feels like a treat, it feels like this is a look inside of this man's vision of life. That's way more endearing than me trying to just sell you jokes that I just put together on the fly or whatever the case may be. So being authentic is everything. And hey, find the things in your life that your shortcomings. Talk about your shortcomings. Talk about your failures. Point them out, because you'll be shocked at how many people have failed just like you too many times. So that's my main thing. And my main thing, I do want to say this too, Jonathan. Don't be too personal. What I mean by that is, I worked with, one comedian one time years ago, and he went on stage and he wanted to just rip the mother of his child. And it's a 20-minute rip session on her. And it's uncomfortable in the room. So I say don't be too personal because no one wants to go down a lane, and I don't want to overuse the word toxic, but of toxic material. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to laugh with you. I don't want to feel like I'm trying to laugh at somebody that you have a disdain for.
Making it
So
awkward.
yeah, so you can be personal, as in letting people know a lens inside of look inside of your life, but your personal vendettas, I wouldn't go on stage and go too hard on them. I would let your success talk for you. Let your success get back at whoever that you felt may have done you wrong. That's a big point I want to tell the young.
Okay. So as far as creating your brand, could you explain why train?
So I was in 8th grade. My mother had always encouraged us to get out there and be active. Sports, school activities, whatever. So I played football from the age of 6 years old all the way till I graduated. And about 8th grade, a teammate of mine, shout him out, Calvin Hunter. We leaving practice, and Calvin's like, he's real country and suave and cool. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna start calling you A-Train. I looked at him and I said, that's terrible. Don't call me that. Like that. What is that? What is that? He's like, it's a guy in the NFL named Anthony Thomas. Call him A-Train. Yeah, I like that name for you too. And I remember saying, I don't like it. I don't want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it spread, man. And everyone started calling me that. And by high school, the A dropped off, and it was just Train. And I have now looking back on, I have to thank him for the branding. I was just Anthony Johnson before. You know what I'm saying? But now Anthony Train Johnson, it helps out a lot. So I'm glad you asked that, Jonathan. A lot of people wonder that, and I don't even take time to voice that. You know what I'm saying? It's not nothing crazy. It came from sports. No question.